Okay, guys. My... Like, I can hear my kid out there being like, she's been banging on the door. She is, like, not being good. So... Oh, I hope I did this right. Hey, Steph. Go get Dad, Finley. Oh my goodness. This is life right now. I love it. I'm like, babe, will you watch Finley so that I can do a live? He's not watching her. Okay, so I wanted to talk about self-love just because it's been going around a lot right now. Like, you know, it's always kind of been like popular recently, but I feel like we're definitely seeing like a lot more of it. So I just wanted to jump on because I found this really cool Instagram, and I've been following this girl, and she has like a ton of really good thoughts. And the more that I've thought about like what she said, the more, oh, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yay. Okay, Steph, you're making me excited to talk about it. So, I found this Instagram of this girl, and the more I've followed her and like listened to what she has to say about self-love and stuff like that, the more it's just kind of hit me in the face, like why we don't. So I kind of wanted to talk about it. Also, she is also an eating disorder survivor. So she just has she's amazing. So if you want to go follow her, her Instagram is Body Posse Panda. So it's like body positive, right? So it's Body POSI Panda is her Instagram. But she's amazing. She's like fantastic. And she is a fellow eating disorder survivor. So like I feel like I connect with her really well. And also this is going to be a lot about self-love, but I know she has an amazing book. I haven't read it yet, but I just bought it and I'm waiting for it to get here. But I can relate a lot with eating disorders. So this is about like self-love and like body image and stuff, but I am like, because that's my story, that's kind of my thing. So that is going to come into play a lot with this video. So just so you guys know. So, as I started looking into like statistics, I've got my notes here. So if I'm not looking, that's why. Okay. So I was like looking into statistics and just things that women don't like about themselves, and just how common it is. I found there's a magazine called Self. I think it's a British magazine, but hey Cami, happy Valentine's Day, my Valentine. So it's called Self magazine, and they published a story in 2016, and they said in 1992, they did a survey of 3,100 readers, and in that survey, they found like a percentage of women that liked the way their body looked. They liked their body image. They were perfectly comfortable with who they were. But so then in 2016, they were going to talk about body image because it was becoming so popular and so trendy, like love yourself, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, you know what? We're going to do this survey again because it's going to be amazing. So they redid the survey, 3,100 women again, in 2016. And they found that the number of women who love their body actually doubled. But here's the kicker. It only doubled from 7%. So in 1992, 7% of women loved their body, and in 2016, 14% of women love their body, which is crazy to think, because like you just see it so much, like you should love yourself, and this isn't wrong with you, and this isn't wrong with you. So this is why I really love Body Positive Babe. She's awesome. So these are some statistics that I found. One is 97% of women have at least one negative thought about their body image every single day. And as I was reading some of the thoughts these women jotted down, legit guys, I just was like, I was researching this and finishing this today, and I was just sobbing. It was just It was awful. One that was just like really heart-wrenching for me was a woman who wrote down that she had a thought, you shouldn't eat that. You could probably use an eating disorder. Like, why would you ever think that about yourself? I can't even, we'll get into Edie a little bit later, but that was like a negative thought that she had about her body. 97% of women are having negative thoughts about their body at least once a day. 91% of women are unhappy with their weight and resort to dieting to achieve their ideal body weight, but only 5% of American women possess the body type portrayed in American media. What does that say? That says you're going to be exercising and starving yourself trying to look the way that mainstream media looks. Magazines, movies, Instagram influencers, the way all these different women look, you're just not meant to look like that. That's the basic fact. A Brown University study found that 91% of all cosmetic procedures are performed on women, and that is not including spa treatments that women are getting weekly and bi-weekly. So, you know, regularly women are changing their features to The Bachelor. Stephanie, those women are ridiculous because every woman looks like the women on The Bachelor. Like, The Bachelor is a great representation of every woman, right? Oh my gosh. So, then there were a couple of British studies that really kind of hit my core, and one of them was done in 2016. It was a girl's attitude survey, and it found that 40% of girls from the age 7 to 10 felt ashamed of their body some of the time. 7 to 10 year olds being ashamed of their body. 40% of them. That's ridiculous. And that's just in the UK. Like, that's ridiculous. So I started looking into what women don't like about their body. And it blew my mind, guys. Like, I know what women don't like about their body. There's cellulite, there's stretch marks, there's, you know, belly fat, there's all sorts of stuff like that. Mothered breasts, you know what I mean? Women have kids, they breastfeed, their breasts change, and they instantly are ashamed of what their body looks like. Even more so, like love handles, that's a big one. Nobody wants their love handles. But as I started looking into it, I kind of started to get shocked by what was coming up. And this was like first page Google. This was not like I had to do digging to find any of these things. So those are like the normal things that we see. Then I saw thin lips. That's one that has become really big. Lip injections, right? Thin lips. Fine lines and wrinkles. Which, can I just say, blows my mind. That people are self-conscious about fine lines and wrinkles. Like, smile lines, you get those because you have a happy life. Because you're smiling. Parentheses, again, you're smiling. You get those because you have a happy life. Like, and not only that, but with the wrinkles, like, just comes the wisdom. You have tons of cool stories to tell. You have tons of love to give. You have tons of wisdom that you've lived that you can give people. Like, I just don't get why fine lines and wrinkles are really a big deal. But, so fine lines and wrinkles. Feet. Women are self-conscious of their feet. Like, I get it, feet aren't necessarily, like, delicious. You know what I mean? Like, they can smell when they sweat or whatever. But women to, like, actually be self-conscious of their feet. Fingers was another one. People are self-conscious of their fingers. This is the really weird one. Earlobes. Women are self-conscious of their earlobes and are getting them surgically altered. This is just beyond me, okay? The one that really bugged me, because I sell makeup, but this one really bugged me, is that women are self-conscious of makeup-free faces. Like, that just drives me nuts. And I tell all my women this, if like anyone who wants to buy makeup from me, I like preach to them. I'm like, listen, this is not, like I go out without makeup all the time. And my husband, he kind of jokes, like, isn't it your job to wear makeup? Like, you sell makeup. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how I love how I look without makeup. I hate it that women get self-conscious with their makeup free faces. Okay, so Steph, we're going to start talking about this, like self-conscious stuff. So then I was watching a video about from the Body Positive Babe. She's amazing. And her video was about cellulite. And she goes to talk about how she did a Google search for cellulite. If you haven't seen this video, go to her Instagram and it's the link in her bio. It's amazing. But she went to do a search for cellulite, and for 10 pages, it was negative comments about cellulite and everybody promising how to get rid of it. So she started doing research, and cellulite wasn't even a thing until the early 1900s when the French gave it a name. And then in the mid, like 1950s, like that was when beauty magazines started picking it up. And this one woman picked it up, wrote in a beauty magazine about how it was wrong and what was wrong with it, and then promoted her book that was telling everyone how to get rid of it. So that was really clicked with me. Yes, Stephanie, amazing YouTube video. So that really clicked with me because it's like, okay, so cellulite hasn't even been a thing forever. And this woman just figured out how to make it look negative so that she could tell people how to fix it and make money off of it. So then I started looking at everything else that women and men don't like about their bodies. And she mentioned some in her video. There's thigh gap, hip dips. Strong is the new sexy. I saw that everywhere when I was doing research this past week. Strong is the new sexy. You gotta have toned muscles to be sexy. Diets. Ooh, don't get me started about diets. I hate diets. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. When we start getting into the ED talk, we're going to talk about diets because I hate diets. Washboard abs. We've heard that a million times. You know, there's just all these things, and they're trends, they're fads, and the reason they come out is because somebody has found the solution to these things, so they start to tell you that it's a problem so that they can offer the solution and make money off of what you're self-conscious about. Literally all of these things. That's what they're doing. They are telling you your lips are too thin so that you'll buy lip injections. They will tell you that wrinkles make you look old and tired so that you get Botox. They will tell you that stretch marks are a problem and that they are not natural. They will tell you stretch marks are not natural so that you get the oils and the creams and the laser surgeries to get rid of them. Never mind that you get stretch marks from doing one of the most natural things ever, giving birth, or going through puberty. My husband has stretch marks on his knees and his shoulders just from going through puberty. My husband is not a big guy. Like, he's pretty average, and he's got stretch marks. I have stretch marks from having kids. I have stretch marks from going through puberty. Like, I love how they say stretch marks are not natural when they're literally, like, you get them from going through some of the most natural human things possible. So all these things are getting ingrained in us, not just because people are telling us that this is wrong, this is bad, this needs to get fixed, but because people are actually believing it. Our friends are going and getting their lips injected. Our friends are killing themselves at the gym every day just to get a little bit more toned. Our friends are buying these creams and serums and oils to get rid of their cellulite, to get rid of their stretch marks. Like, not only are people and businesses telling us these things are wrong with us, but we are seeing our friends participate in these things, which make us feel like, oh, there is something wrong there. I need to fix that too. It's not true. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your body. Everything that somebody has told you is wrong with your body is 110,000% false, because they are just trying to make money off of you. That's it. That's it. The average woman, so let's put this into perspective of people that we compare ourselves to, you know, magazines and models and TV and The Bachelor and these Instagram influencers. Let's put this into perspective. The average woman is 5'4" and weighs 165 pounds. The average model is 5'11" and weighs 120 pounds. There's no comparison there. But we think there is. We look at these women and we compare ourselves to these women, and there's no comparison there. One is math 7. One is 7 inches taller. I weigh 165. I'm just gonna say it. It's taken me a really long time to come to terms with weighing 165, but I do. And my 165 looks totally different. I'm 5'9", maybe 5'8", I don't remember. But my 165 looks totally different on somebody who's 6 foot. My 165 looks totally different on somebody who's 5'7", 5'6", right? We know as height changes, the way the weight looks changes. So to take an average woman who's 5'4" and 165 and compare them to a model who is 5'11" and 120 pounds is asinine. Asinine. It's just the dumbest thing. Steph, I'm the average woman. I'm a couple inches taller, but I weighed 135 for as long as I can remember. And I convinced myself that I was supposed to weigh 135 because I had a daughter. Mind you, I had a daughter when I was 18, so my body was not even done where it was supposed to be. But I had a daughter, and even after her, I weighed 135. So I was 135, had a daughter, was 135. So I had it in my brain that I was supposed to be 135, and I was literally killing myself trying to get there. And I'm not saying that figuratively. I started to develop an eating disorder. I was literally killing myself trying to get to 135, and my body is not supposed to be there. That's it. That's all it is. So I wanted to talk about, like I said, I kind of relate with eating disorders a lot just because of personal experience, but I just wanted to talk about different, how these things kind of tie into that, I guess. Hey, Liz. So first of all, one thing I've learned in treatment was there are more eating disorders than you've ever heard of, and they don't discriminate. Women have eating disorders, men have eating disorders. Somebody can look overweight and be anorexic. They don't discriminate, they don't have a look, and there are more than you've ever heard of. There's a lot, and it's just different variations of the whole thing. Yeah, come back and watch the replay, Steph. You're amazing, and I love you so much. I'll catch you soon. My feet are falling asleep. But, so what does body image have to do with eating disorders? So teenagers who have poor body image leads to low self-esteem, leads to eating disorder. 70% of teens with low self-esteem will develop in some kind of an eating disorder. So that right there just tells you we don't want our kids to have low self-esteem, especially linked to body image. Also, teens with low self-esteem are more susceptible to start using drugs, become sexually active, along with developing an eating disorder. So that right there just shows that these young kids and these teens don't know how to deal with low self-esteem, and so they start looking for things that will make them feel better. They think if they start having intercourse with other people, those people will make them feel loved. Those people will have sex with them because they think they're beautiful when they don't. You know what I mean? They're trying to get reinforced. Drugs will help numb what they're feeling, will help them forget about their problems. And so they start resorting to extremely unhealthy, unsafe things, trying to gain some self-esteem, gain some self-worth, and, you know, kind of get a grip on their body image. So it's really important that we be super transparent with our kids about body image and what it is and what it isn't, because otherwise it can just lead to a huge array of problems. And like I said, these problems don't discriminate. Men, women, hey Chantel, they all have eating disorders. So more than 1/3 of people, so we're going to get back into dieting again, because one thing I learned in treatment is just, there were a lot of people I knew in treatment who had started with a diet and then it just spiraled out of control into an eating disorder. So more than 1/3 of people who admit to normal dieting will merge into a pathological dieting. So they start dieting and then it just becomes this obsession and they develop an eating disorder from that. Roughly 1/4 of those who suffer, 1/4 of those people will suffer from a full-on eating disorder. So, sorry, I have like burps. We have 100 people. 1/3 of them, they're all dieting. 1/3 of those people will merge into pathological dieting, where it starts to become obsessive. So 33 people, right? And of that 33, 1/4 of them will develop a full-on eating disorder. Something that a girlfriend who suffers from anorexia actually told me, that she learned in treatment, that the more I think about it, it's so true, is you need to eat like a little kid. Children don't have stipulations about food. Children don't have stipulations about their body. My 3-year-old, he will gorge himself, and when he's done, he will come over and he'll lift up his shirt and he'll say, "Mom, look how much food I ate. My belly is so big. I'm gonna get so strong." You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any of those stipulations that we have grown to accustomed to and have kind of programmed into our brains. So you need to eat like a little kid. It is super scary to have kids nowadays, Jenny. Oh man, it's so true. But we need to eat like a little kid. We need to eat when we're hungry. We need to eat when we're full, and then we're done. No big deal. We don't need to be counting calories. We don't need to be having, you know, these tiny little portion sizes and starving ourselves. We just need to eat like children, because that's the best thing for us. And not only that, but I feel like there's a lot of fad diets. And I have an issue with that. I'm all for healthy eating. Eat healthy, take care of your body. I mean, you obviously know if you're going to sit around and at 8 o'clock every night you're going to eat 4 pounds of chocolate, it's not going to be super healthy. And that's just not good for your body. You're going to start having organ problems. You're probably going to start, you know, just starting to gain weight and feel lethargic and tired and fatigued. So I'm not saying don't be healthy. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of fad diets. I think they are bad news. I have seen too many people spiral out of control in a fad diet. And not only that, but I see these like Atkins guys. There's a reason why the Atkins family will not publish why he died. In his autopsy, it said cardiac problems, but they're not going to say he had a heart attack because all he was eating was red meat. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason they're not publishing why he died, because there's an issue with these fad diets. You hear carbs are bad, carbs are bad, carbs are bad, but then people substitute carbs with dairy and meat, and like throwing all that cholesterol in isn't good either. Like, you're going to clog your arteries, you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke by the time you're 40. So I'm just saying, eating healthy is great. Your body will thank you. Eat like a child. Eat when you're hungry, eat till you're full, and be done. These fad diets are just not my thing. I am not a fad diet person. So also, let's look at a couple more statistics about eating disorders. 95% of people with eating disorders are between the ages of 12 and 25. So that shows you how young these body images start. And again, we are showing this to our children because we are believing what people are selling. I know, the tea diets are just laxatives. Like, that's purging. Like, that is, I'm not trying to be like a know-it-all. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. But I have gone to treatment for this stuff. And the tea diets just have tons of laxatives in them. And that is purging, like, which is an eating disorder. Like, these people are just looking for the quickest way to get skinny because that's what they think they need to be. We talked about this earlier when, I kind of talked about what we're comparing ourselves to and how only 5% of American women, hey Stephanie, you gorgeous babe, 5% of American women possess the body that is portrayed in American media. Only 5%. Which means these women are doing these diets and these tea diets and they're starving themselves and they're looking for these solutions to be skinny, but their bodies aren't meant to be like that. And they're just never going to be happy because they're just buying what people are selling. That's all this is. People are selling. They're selling you your happiness. They are. That's what it comes down to. And with diets, 60% of women tried to lose weight in the last year. And they saw dieting as a solution to that. But 50% of people who diet, 5 years after they're done with that diet, they will be heavier than they were when they started the diet. So let's say me, right now, I start a diet, lose 20 pounds. 5 years later, let's say I put 30 back on. Diets don't work. A healthy lifestyle is what works, guys. Eat healthy because you love your body. Don't diet and do fad diets because you hate something about yourself. I saw that when I was doing all this research about this. There was something that said something about tummy tucks, and it was like, yeah, these women are getting tummy tucks because people are telling them they need to. People are telling them they don't have bikini bodies. They have mothered bodies. Oh no. And so they're getting these tummy tucks. And this doctor said, you need to look at yourself and you need to ask yourself, are you getting a tummy tuck because you need it? Or are you getting a tummy tuck because others need it? And that's what you need to ask yourself about every body image ever. You need to ask that you've ever had. Who is selling it to you? Who's making a profit off of it for you? And do you have this issue because you have this issue or because you are worried that other people are seeing this and having this issue of you? You know what I mean? Like, are you covering up? Are you wearing shorts to the beach because you don't want to see your cellulite? Or are you wearing shorts to the beach because you don't want others to see your cellulite? Like, that's what it comes down to. It's somebody selling it to you or you're worried about what other people think. And there's nothing wrong with any of this stuff. Like, there's just not. 1,000 women die from eating disorders every year. Sorry. 1,000 women. Eating disorders they literally rot you from the inside. As you are depriving, whichever way, whether you're purging or starving yourself or over-exercising, you are starving your body of the nutrients and the fats that it needs. Your organs need fat. And once your body drops below a certain BMI, I think it's 14, but don't quote me. I know nobody likes the body mass index because it doesn't take into account, muscle mass and blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason why psychologists and psychiatrists look at the body mass index. Because, hey, Anna, because once your body mass drops below a certain number, your body literally starts eating your organs. It starts taking fat from your organs to survive. Like, kidney failure, liver failure, because your body is starting to use the fat from your organs to try and survive. Your brain, I'm not even kidding. I had a doctor tell me once, you starving yourself is literally killing your brain. Your body is eating your brain because it has no fat. It needs fat to survive. It needs fat for energy. So 1,000 women die every year. Hey, Carly. 1,000 women die every year from eating disorders, whether that's from organ failure or cardiovascular problems. Your heart suffers tremendously from eating disorders. I have friends who have extreme cardiovascular problems. They meet with, cardiologists regularly because their heart, they literally ruined their heart from having an eating disorder. So this is the statistics about children and eating disorders was honestly the most depressing thing I've ever read. I was just bawling. It was the National Eating Disorder Hotline that I was on as I was reading these statistics, and it was mind-blowing. It was just gut-wrenching. I'm not going to tell them all you, but I will tell you one, just so you can kind of get a little taste of what's happening out there. And this one hit me really hard because I have a 9-year-old. Oh, thanks, Carly. You're so sweet. Valentine's makeup. 9% of 9-year-olds have vomited to lose weight. 9%. Some people might hear that and be like, oh, 9%. I hear that and think 9-year-olds, that number should be at 0%. 9-year-olds have vomited to lose weight. That's depressing. I remember in high school, I had some telltale signs that I was eventually going to develop an eating disorder, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know I was like 16, but I had an aerobics teacher, and at the beginning of the course, we filled out, a paper, like, what do you hope to gain from this aerobics class? And I wrote, I wanted to look skinnier. Mind you, I was like skin and bones. Like, I look back at pictures and I'm like, I thought I was fat then. Oh my gosh, I thought I was fat then? Yeah, I wrote down I wanted to get skinnier. And she pulled me aside and she said, I'm sorry I failed you on this question because that's not an acceptable answer. At the time, I was really bitter about that. I was like, who are you? It's like a freaking essay answer. How can I get that wrong? You're asking my opinion, what I want to get out of this class. Who are you to fail me? Fail that question. You know what I mean? Like, mark it wrong. But that was a telltale sign that, like, if I didn't start to get things under control, something was probably going to happen, which did. So, but that is something that I also learned throughout the years is you don't exercise because you want to change something about yourself. You exercise because you love yourself. So you need to ask yourself as you're exercising, is it because you want a thigh gap? Is it because you want washboard abs? Are you exercising because you want a flat tummy, or you want to get rid of your love handles, or you want to get rid of this or whatever? Like, guys, I'm sitting right now and like, yeah, I've had 3 kids. Like, what do you expect? I'm not saying I'm fat, but I have fat and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, I did something. There we are. Hey. Okay. So I'm not saying I'm fat, but I have fat and there's nothing wrong with that. Guess what? I've had 3 kids. And guess what? As we age, our body just naturally slows down. We don't process food as fast. Our skin doesn't have the elasticity that it has. And we keep looking at ourselves at our high school, like, graduation and thinking that's how we're supposed to look. Oh, it drives me nuts. Anyways, sorry. Trying to fix my camera now. So, exercise because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself. Exercise not because you want to change something about yourself, but because you love yourself. Like me, I when I was going through treatment, I was like, I can't exercise. That's the worst thing I could do right now because it's just going to feed into like what I'm going through. But now, like, I might be skinny, but that does not mean that does not mean I'm in shape. I walk up a flight of stairs and I am out of breath. I'm like sweating, like I'm extremely out of shape. So now exercising is something I do because I'm like, okay, my heart and my lungs aren't healthy. I need to kind of fix that. It's not because I want to be skinnier or I want my tummy to be flatter or I want thigh gap or whatever. I exercise because I legitimately like love my body and I want it to be healthy so that I can play with my kids and do the things that I want to do with my life. You know, and I mean, this goes with obesity as well. Like, being overweight is a problem. I'm not saying like, I'm saying to love yourself the way that it is, the way that you are, and to be happy with yourself. Don't lose weight because you think you need to be skinny. If you are overweight and you want to lose weight because you're having joint problems, because you're having back problems, because you can't keep up with your kids, that makes sense. That's improving your quality of life from exercising and being healthy. I'm just saying, if you're overweight and you're trying to exercise because you want to be skinny, because you want to look like so-and-so who is like a totally different body type and height than you, like, that's when you're exercising for the wrong reasons. You want to be exercising because you love yourself, not because you're trying to change something about you. I could talk about this forever, but I'm going to wrap this up. I heard an amazing quote the other day on this video. So I'm taking this business course and this guy said this. His name is Jacob McCarthy. He is a photographer. And I wanted to share this, guys, with you because when I heard it, it hit me right in the chest and made me feel like $1,000,000. I can't even tell you how awesome it was. So I'm going to read this and you guys are all just going to fall in love with yourself. But that's what I want you to think about when you start obsessing about something you don't like about yourself. Who is selling it to you and why don't you like it? Do you not like it because you don't like it, or do you not like it because you think other people don't like it? Here's what Jacob has to say. He says, the scientific probability of you being born is 400 trillion to 1. According to Dr. Ali Benazir, that ratio is incorrect. After doing some very logical math about your parents meeting and your ancestor meeting and all of them having children, Dr. Benazir has come up with a figure that the chance of us actually being born is 1 in 10, followed by 640,000 zeros. That's the probability of us being born. 1 in 10, and then that 10 is followed by 640,000 zeros. For comparison, the approximate numbers of atoms in the known universe is 1 in 10, or sorry, blah, blah, blah. I lost my spot, that's why I messed up. Okay, for comparison, the approximate number of atoms in the known universe is 10 followed by 80 zeros. So the probability of us being born is like mind-blowing compared to the number of atoms, like the number of known atoms in the universe. Okay, so he goes on to say, so what is the probability of you being born? It is the probability of 2.5 million people getting together. That's about the population of San Diego or Paris. And they all get together and they each play a game with a 1 trillion sided dice. They all take their dice, they give it a roll, and every single one of them comes up with the same number. And he throws out 550,343,000,000. They all roll their dice and they get that number. 2.5 million people roll a 1 trillion sided dice and get the same number. That is the probability of you being born. Now, he says, I agree with Dr. Benazir here. He says, a miracle is an event so unlikely that it is almost impossible. By that definition, I have just proven that you are a miracle. So, why are you sacrificing your happiness? Why are you obsessing about flaws that don't exist? Somebody told you they were a flaw. You weren't born knowing this was a flaw. Somebody told you it was a flaw because they wanted to make money off of it. Why are you sacrificing your happiness over this? Why are you spending your time and your energy and your resources believing that you are anything less than the miracle you are? Look at yourself as a whole person. You are more than your appearance. You are more than just a body part. You are kind and loving and caring and hardworking and motivated and funny and sweet, and maybe you give the best hugs. Maybe you make the best cookies. Look at yourself more than your appearance. You are more than a body part. Look at yourself as a whole person. There's more to you than the way that you look. And I love you all so very much. And I hope some of this stuck with you and that it clicked, and we're going to start making progress to loving ourselves a little bit more. So I just want to tell all of you guys that I love you so much on this Valentine's Day. You each are one of my very favorite Valentines, and I love you. I think you're all beautiful just the way you are, and I will catch you guys next time I go live.